Hi, my name is Lillian Rogers. The date is July 23rd, 2016. The topic I will be informing you on today is why we need the border wall built between Mexico and the United States, and other facts and reasons about the border wall. We need the border wall built between Mexico and the United States to prevent human trafficking, drug and gun smuggling, illegal immigrants, and other unlawful activities done through the open borders. By building the wall, it will give more of a sense of safety to the United States, as well as help the economy and deterring illegal immigrants, trafficking, and smuggling. The problem isn't cutting the immigrants completely off and isolating ourselves in them. You want immigrants to feel like they have a safe place to go. But we can deter the illegal immigrants who don't want to go through the system. If an immigrant really wanted to get over here for safety or any other reasons, why they would do everything legally and as swift as possible. The wall would help keep most of them legal instead of leeching. We need this wall not just for our economy, but for our dignity, safety, and a country as a whole. We need the wall for our safety and dignity. If an immigrant wants to become a U.S. citizen, they must follow the rules and regulations for becoming one, instead of coming illegally and leeching. We need this wall for many reasons, most of them I have already stated, such as drug and gun smuggling, human trafficking, which has gotten extremely bad the past few decades, deterring illegals. The wall will help clean some of America out, as well as give an economic boost. The main purpose of the wall is to try and deter most of these unlawful acts. The wall will not solve it completely, but it will deter the immigrants big time. We need this fence, and we need it now. Control of our borders is required for national security. We need to reduce the amount of illegal drugs that are being transported over the southern border. We need to reduce the influx of low-skilled illegal immigrants that are driving U.S. wages down, taking jobs that normally would be performed by a U.S. citizen. The massive influx of illegal immigrants across the southern border is significantly increasing the cost to provide education, medical services, and law enforcement. The fence would help reduce the amount of drug-related lawlessness on both sides of the border. The border agents are currently overwhelmed. The fence would reduce the flow to allow them to concentrate on fewer illegal immigrants that do past it to the wall. The table demonstrates the number of illegal stops that were trying to pass in 2012, 13, and 14. 2014 increased dramatically. We need to ensure that Mexico will help pay for the wall. Since we have been taking care of their illegal immigrants and most returning back with money and other valuable items. Mexico has taken advantage of us in many ways. For example, gangs, drug traffickers, and cartels have freely exploited our open borders and committed vast numbers of crimes inside the United States. The United States has borne the extraordinary daily cost of this criminal activity, including the cost of trials and incarcerations, not to mention the even greater human cost. We have the moral high ground here and all the leverage. This is why we need to make Mexico help us pay for the border wall. To persuade Mexico into help paying for the wall, we can look to the provision of the Patriot Act, Section 326, the Know Your Customer provision. Compelling financial institutions to demand identity documents before opening accounts or conducting financial transactions is a fundamental element of the outline below. That section authorized the executive branch to issue detailed regulations on the subject found at 31 CFR 120 to 121. It's an easy decision for Mexico to make a one-time payment of $5 to $10 billion to ensure that $24 billion continues to flow into their country year after year. There are several ways to compel Mexico to pay for the wall, including the following. On day one, promulgate a proposed regulation amending 31 CFR 130-121 to redefine applicable financial institutions to include money transfer companies like Western Union and redefine account to include wire transfers. Also include in the proposed rule a requirement that no alien may wire money outside of the United States unless the alien provides a document establishing his lawful presence in the United States. On day two, Mexico will immediately protest. They receive approximately $284 billion a year in remittances from Mexican internationals working in the United States. The majority of the accounts comes from illegal aliens. It served as a de facto welfare for the poor families in Mexico. There is no significant social safety net provided by the state of Mexico. On day 3, tell Mexico that if Mexican government will contribute the funds needed to the United States to pay for the wall, the Trump administration will not promulgate the final rule and the regulation will not go into effect. Trade tariffs or enforcement of existing trade rules. There is no doubt that Mexico is engaging in unfair subsidy behavior that has eliminated thousands of U.S. jobs and which are obligated to respond to. The impact of any tariffs on the price of imports will be more than offset by the economic and income gains of increased production in the United States, in addition to revenue from any tariffs themselves. Mexico needs access to our markets much more than the reverse, so we all have the leverage and will win the negotiation. By definition, if you have a large trade deficit with a nation, it means they are selling far more to you than reverse. Thus they, not you, stand to lose from enforcing trade rules through tariffs, as has been done to save money U.S. industries in the past. Canceling visas. Immigration is a privilege, not a right. Mexico is totally dependent on the United States as a relief valve for its own poverty. Our approvals of hundreds of thousands of visas to their nationals every year is one of our greatest leverage points. We also have leverage through business and tourist visas for important people in the Mexican economy. Keep in mind, the United States has already taken 4 times more immigrants than any other country on planet Earth, producing lower wages and higher unemployment for our own citizens and recent migrants. Visa fees. Even a small increase in visa fees would pay for the wall. This includes fees on borders crossing cards, of which more than 1 million are issued a year. The border crossing card is also one of the greatest sources of illegal immigration into the United States via overstays. Mexico is also the single largest recipient of the U.S. green cards, which confer a path to U.S. citizenship. Again, we have leverage, so Mexico will back down. Republican Donald Trump's proposition for the border wall really brought up the thought and idea of building one and getting it going. A nation without borders is not a nation. There must be a wall across the southern border. Mexico must pay for the wall, and until they do, the United States will, among other things, impound all remittance payments derived from illegal wages, increase fees on all temporary visas issued to Mexico CEOs and diplomats, and if necessary, cancel them. Increase fees on all border crossing cards, of which we can issue about 1 million to Mexican nationals each year. Increase fees on NAFTA working visas from Mexico, and increase fees at ports of every entry into the United States from Mexico we will not be taken advantage of anymore. In conclusion, we need this wall as well as contribution from Mexico to get this wall built, for the dignity, safety, and restoring of this country. We need this wall not just for our economy, but for our country as a whole, to give the other countries boundaries. We are America. Now let's build the border wall and put our fist down to stop all the unlawful actions. Thank you.